Alan. All right. Do you want blue or white? I'll take white.
All right, everyone, welcome back to day 3 of the NCTTA College National Championships. We are here with the men's championship singles round of 64. We have the 22 seed Sean Fong versus the 26 seed Alan Chen. Today with you, my name is Logan Zimmerman and this is Barbara Way. We'll be trying to announce all the action.
Excited to be here. It looks like we have a matchup between two lefties.
That's very rare, Barbara.
Yeah, lefties are coveted in table tennis, and you know it's kind of fun to watch because it looks like a righty-righty match, but just on a flipped mirror side. Alan Chen from NYU, part of the team that won the championships last night in the co-ed team final. Although I don't think he didn't play in the final, but definitely part of that big team effort throughout the competition.
Yeah, that was an exciting matchup. And if he's anything like the other players on his team, he's going to be coming out and showing us all kinds of spectacular shots.
So to reach the round of 60 for the men, there are a select number who are seeded out, and then they had to play in preliminary round robin. So it's actually a pretty elite group that gets to still play on the third day.
So I wonder, with a lefty-lefty situation, it's not like it's incredibly easy to find another lefty to practice against. So is this something that you just have to react to when you get to the table? Or can you watch like maybe a righty-righty matchup and see how they play those strategies and maybe adopt something similar?
Yeah, I think for this lefty-lefty matchup, a lefty playing a lefty kind of feels like a righty playing a lefty. Because it just feels weird, right? You're not used to playing like that because lefties also trained to play against righties. And so I think it might be a little bit different in the beginning for both players trying to get used to playing another lefty. What I think is going to be important is to watch the angles of their attacks, because their angles are super favorable when they're playing a righty, but when they're playing a lefty, they're less favorable. So they have to do something different. So the players are clarifying with the umpires some of the COVID protocols. You know, wiping the table with your hand. NCTTA has adopted the COVID in-game, in-field protocols from the World Championships in Houston, and to keep it sanitary.
All right, and we're off. And fireworks early from Alan Chen.
And here we see Sean Fong sort of looping cross-court right into Alan's forehand. That's helpful when you're playing a righty because that's their backhand, but now it's Alan's forehand and he's going for those counter loops.
So Alan with the step around just catches the edge of his racket. It's 2-1, Sean Fong. Nice flip with some backhand play, but Allen's able to withstand the onslaught and tie it all up. A little bit of a loose push there, Barbara, or do you think the spin was just that tricky from the serve?
I think he didn't read the serve correctly. Yeah, but he did add enough spin to make sure it didn't fly off the table. Both players playing classic lefty styles, right? Serve and a big forehand attack, serve and a big forehand attack. Especially Allen, probably fired up from yesterday's win.
I mean, they're champions now, so you got to play like one.
Yeah, especially for the lefties playing each other, they have to adjust their service game or serve a lot more cross-court into each other's backhands.
Nice spin there. Played very controlled, but still plenty of power.
Looks like these no-spin serves have been very effective. They either result in a pop-up or some mistakes in terms of controlling it. It'd be a good tactic for both players going forward.
Man, that backhand from Sean, very crisp, as you were saying about the players, Barbara. And he took advantage with the fast serve and opted to go quick with the backhand.
There's slight variations here. They're kind of serving half long, not too spinny, but a little spinny here, and then forcing some errors on the serve receive. Actually seeing less serve and attack right now, and just kind of serve. Yeah, a lot of variation on the serve.
So that's one of the things in table tennis. You can't read the serve or the spin as a spectator. So do you think that would add the quality if we had some way so that way the viewers at home could see how much spins on the ball?
Yeah, I think that would really show how complicated this sport is. It's not just about hitting it when it's in front of you or hitting it harder or placing it correctly. The spin is a whole variation in itself. Nice job by Sean. You can hear Sean like stomping on those pushes. He's really trying to add a lot of spin.
All right, Allen to serve, 9-6. Man, going for the big counter loop, but just wasn't quite there.
That has been the NYU signature, just going for broke on a lot of shots. Sean bringing the serve game, you know, a lot of variation. That's a new serve. He hasn't served short to the forehand much this game. And trying to use that same setup from before to make those crisp pounding backhands.
Sean slowing down the pace, using his towel break, trying to compose himself. Has to save 2 game points. Oh, and a great recovery after that popped up push.
Yeah, Sean's defense is pretty good. He's able to return the ball, and that's sometimes all you need. It doesn't have to be great, just get it on the table.
And magnificent. He pulls it off. 2 points in a row, puts them all to deuce. It's time to go into overtime on the first game. Now we see a little bit of defense from Alan.
Not quite enough, and this time it was really Sean cleverly setting up that whole sequence. That was really interesting. So Sean has been struggling with that serve from Alan the whole time. The returns are not, the lowest, but they're giving Alan trouble. Perhaps they're a surprise to Alan. Maybe Alan's waiting for a flip, or perhaps they're just a little short. You saw Alan having to step in on that one.
You think that pace really slows down when the ball pops up like that?
Yeah, it slows down, and it's just shorter. Like, you really have to move in, and maybe Alan's sort of backing up, preparing that huge swing.
And I guess it looked like Sean was actually giving a lot of fast, heavy pushes early on, catching him off the bounce, really digging in and sending him quickly. So when one pops up, you're expecting a fast push. But then as the ball pops up, it slows down. Then the backspin bites the table and almost bounces straight up, right?
That's right, that's right. And that gave Alan trouble at the end. But Alan, at 10-9, that serve that he did, I think it was a mistake. Like, I didn't think he wanted it to be so high.
So how do you anticipate or react to something like that when the pace changes accidentally? Is that something you can train for?
I think you just got to play a lot of matches, Logan. You got to know how to recover from those. It's okay if you make one mistake on a serve, but you have to compose yourself and be able to play the rest of the points.
I've still been hunting for a way to practice net balls, but it seems like it's impossible. All right, we're in game 2. Sean Fong has won the first game. He's up 1-0. Let's see if Alan can respond. That was a very nice loop there to tie up game 2.
When Sean serves, he really has control of the point. I think he has these nice combinations. They look like they're almost pre-set up in his mind, right? Like, I'm going to do this serve, and this is the follow-up.
So then maybe Sean really emphasizes third ball in his training regimen?
I think they probably both do. But Sean may emphasize, like, training specific third balls, right?
That was a fantastic read there by Sean. Really showcasing that he has some power.
Yeah, and speed. He turned that corner so fast. Both players struggling when the ball is sort of medium long or half long.
So far the matchup feels pretty even from what we've seen. Sean to serve, 3-3. So you can see Sean apologizing there. Ball just catching the top of the net, dribbling over, a little too short for Alan to get to. Oh, nice change of serve.
Yeah, Sean has been doing a great job serving all over the table, sometimes short, sometimes long. And Alan has struggled. He's missed a couple straight right off the serve.
Oh, great slow spin, looking for the nice roll, and just put it a few millimeters wide.
That's a good serve receive by Sean. So he's been pushing and pushing and pushing. This time he went for the flip. It didn't convert to a point, but he gathered some information about the serve.
Nice heavy underspin serve there. 6-5. Sean to serve. And there it is again.
Yeah, he served no spin this time. So he served the heavy underspin, got Alan frustrated by pushing into the net. Now serving no spin. Alan trying to push heavy again, pops it up. Sean just converts.
So Alan seems to be struggling to get a read off that contact point from Sean, and is serving him well in this match.
Alan hasn't gone for a big shot in a while. You know, he hasn't had that perfect ball. And Sean's doing a good job controlling that. But Alan also has been serving a lot of long balls this game, and I wonder if he's trying to play a more countering strategy. But his third ball strategy did work really well in that first game. There's that big shot.
Alan just going for a flip. The net wants to get in the way.
Net's always in the way.
Net is not your friend sometimes.
Again, Sean, clever serving, right? Sometimes topspin half long, sometimes underspin half long, placed all over the table, sometimes really quick. It's really given Alan trouble this game.
All right, Alan has to save 4 game points. And there's one down.
As long as Alan gets on the attack, his forehand attack has a lot of power. It's very hard to counter it, very hard to block it, but he hasn't really gone for those shots this game.
So maybe if he can get a strong opener and push on off the table. And he goes for it, but it wasn't meant to be. Catches the net. And we're going into game 3 with Sean Fong up 2-0. So in singles, it's interesting. Sean has a coach, Alan doesn't. Maybe his team is off somewhere else in the venue, or maybe Alan prefers to play by himself. Is that a thing where some players like self-talk? Maybe somebody else's opinion might interrupt their flow or their tactics?
Yeah, there are a lot of people who prefer to self-coach, and there are people who prefer to self-coach instead of being coached by someone who doesn't know their game. Because if someone doesn't know their game, they might say, as we talked about yesterday, this is what I would do. But Alan's like, that's not what I would do. I don't have those exact skills or those exact strengths, right? And that can be confusing. You know, I need to listen to my coach, but I don't really agree with that.
Yeah.
So it causes more trouble than it's worth sometimes. So I think having no coaches, it should be having no coaches better than having a coach that doesn't know how you're playing.
Sure.
And then a coach or a teammate, right, who has trained with you, who knows what you're good at, that's the best.
Yeah, because they know your game and they can provide suggestions that you're capable of, or that feel comfortable to you that maybe you just didn't think to try. All right, game 3 underway. Just a mild slip right there.
Really nice misdirection. China's really controlling all these points.
And I mean, it looked like Alan saw it. He was preparing for it. He just hit that tiny, you heard it on the floor, losing his grip. So down 3-0 in game 3 after a serve like that. I mean,
hurts your confidence a little bit. You probably go for a different serve, maybe something a little easier.
Fantastic looping rally. That backhand would have been amazing if he had just caught it. That would have been great. But otherwise, that was fun to watch.
Awesome effort by both players. I mean, they know this is crunch time. They're bringing out everything.
I mean, in rallies like that, while they don't always happen that often, it's almost like that's what you play for.
They give you pumped up. You know, if you win a big rally, you feel great.
It's not the easiest way to win a game, but it's the most fun.
Oh, this is a nice touch rally. You know, they both backed up off the table, but they weren't swinging at it. Timeout from NYU.
All right, so Allen has to collect himself. This game is extremely important. He has to figure out how to overcome this 3-point deficit that he's found himself in. What do you do?
I think you have to figure out how to do what you're good at, right? Because I feel like Allen has that big forehand. He hasn't made it in a while. He's really struggling because Sean is controlling the rally. Sean is in charge of where he places the ball. He doesn't have to hit it hard, but Allen doesn't have that momentum. Got to get that momentum back on your side. And I think Allen should maybe start serving a little bit more short. We're seeing a lot of half long, a lot of topspin. And if his third ball is good, which I'm sure it is, if you serve short, you can get that option to open.
And Allen, I think he's been struggling a little. That push from Sean actually is so good, though. So it almost feels like it takes options away. But keeping the short ball close to the net, could that lead to a short exchange? Or do you think he's really hoping that Sean goes for that long push?
I think it's okay if it leads to a short exchange for him. He can push short back and get that second one to attack too. You can see Allen is trying to go for the big shot. You saw him step around immediately after that serve. But then I think he hesitated a little. He ultimately won that point, but it was off an error from Sean. Yeah, he's going for it. Allen's going for the aggressive play. He knows he has to play more aggressive to win. And this is something that happens when you play a player who's like 100 rating points higher than you. You have to play aggressively, because if you play passively, it's just not going to work.
And I mean, the hard part about this game too is sometimes you just can't get it going, and it's the tiniest angle that makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
But if you can find that rhythm and you do have the bigger shot, then that could lead to a string of points. Unfortunate. Yeah. Sean with the apology there.
And nicked the net over. But I think Allen didn't mean for that serve to be that long. And maybe not right into the middle of the table. Allen was right there, ready for it. Lefties are so good turning into that middle. This is going to be tough for Allen. That's his shot, his signature move, right? And you really need that.
What do you think Sean was apologizing for right there on that one?
You know, I'm not quite sure. Oh, nice.
That was a clean loop.
Oh, you know, sometimes player apologizes if the other player makes a mistake.
Because I guess out of that competitive spirit, we all want some of these really tough rallies. Even though ideally you want your opponent to miss every serve return and you want to blow every loop by them, there's something about this exchange of, you know, long rallies that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah.
Nice backhand flip there. And that's it. Sean Fong takes the third game, 11-4. And he wins and advances on to the round of 32.
Yeah, nice job by Sean. Played better and better as the match went on. Better able to control Allen, sort of neutralize Allen's attack, and get Allen frustrated enough that he wasn't actually able to make a lot of those shots in the end. Really good strategic play from Sean, and looking forward to seeing him in the next round.
All right, so coming up on table one, we have the Women's Championship Singles round of 32. This is match number 10 versus the 10 seed and the 16 seed. 10 seed is also from NYU. It is Andy May, and she is playing against Georgia Tech's Yan Yushi.
Looks like they're getting set up for this match, so we'll take a little break and be back with the women's singles.
All right, and we're back here at the Women's Championship Singles round of 32 with Andy May versus Yan Yushi. So we have a little bit of a ratings discrepancy here between the players, but it could be that you know, sometimes in these competitions, it seems like lower rated players that have found a new technique or found some more confidence often get re-rated because they're actually playing higher than that number on the paper.
Yeah, I think ratings are really deceiving. And when you're in the championship round, you sort of try not to look at them, right? Everyone earned their place here. And I think they give you a little bit of an idea, but I think it might be pretty even.
I think one of my coaches used to say, your points can't play for you.
That's right. That's a great saying. So NYU, Andy, the lefty, it looks like she has short pips on her backhand, perhaps. You can hear it. Sounds different. And Yang Yuxia from Georgia Tech. You know, both players have good basics. They're going to be, I think it might be some really quick exchanges, actually.
I think with both of these players, though, they're at that level where you still can do many, many shots with high quality. And whenever you get players that are similar enough in level, you get these great rallies. You know, fantastic match, fun to watch. So,
yeah, in contrast to our last match, I think it's going to go like pow, 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 a lot of more flat hitting and less spin.
so one thing I think Yanyu's going to have to watch out, we've been seeing throughout the tournament, Andy has a nice slow spin opener. And sometimes that spin and pace is trouble for players.
Yeah, that slow spin opener is going to be really critical because it's tough to play your first match in the morning and you want to hit that first attack on the table. And Andy's doing a great job, just consistently. I'm not going to kill it, I'm just going to get it on the table, and it's working.
All right. It's a little bit of a miss there from Andy, but 3-2. Andy leads.
Nice tomahawk serve.
Nice fast pace on that rally. 2 quick forehands. Gets it done. You could hear the pop on that ball.
Wow. Andy is so quick. She just stands close to the table. It seems like she's just right over the ball all the time. Andy is really playing as the aggressor, right? She's sort of setting up the point. She's attacking. And it's working well for her. Yeah, you're a little frustrated. Hard to control the serve. It's kind of like getting shot at over and over again. You just want to get it to stop.
Well, and it's tough when you have a player that's consistent and the ball just always hits the table. You're looking for mistakes and they don't come. So now you have to force the issue and play real quality. And Andy just seems to not be missing right now.
She's not missing at all. She looks so casual about it too. She's like, oh, that's smack forehand. Okay.
I mean, and Yanyu's a good player in her own right. This is just Andy being in a good groove and really consistently picking her lines and landing shots.
She's taking a little time to refocus after those 2 mistakes. You know, sometimes, Logan, being at 9 is a little bit of a curse because you feel like you're so close.
I have blown many a lead being up
9-something.
9-something, losing 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah, that's what's happening to Andy. She was up, I think, 9-2 or 9-3, and now it's 9-7. And it's hard to get back in the groove, so you really have to take the time to refocus. And with that, yeah, you should just within 1 point. That's why I said sometimes being up 9-something can be a curse. You really have to Fight hard.
Oh, and Yanyu just hits the edge of the racket and misses. Goes down 11-8 in the first match, the first game of the match. Now, one of those things that we were seeing from Andy here, she kind of started hesitating and maybe wasn't as confident. And sometimes with that lead, one of the things I had a sports psychologist tell me once was that sometimes you get off to a quick start, a fast pace. Try to not focus on the results but the process, because it's easy if you're doing better than you expected against someone to go, oh, wait a second. Like, I'm playing better than normal. And that thought is almost a negative thought that brings your body and your subconscious back, oh, if I'm playing better than normal, I should play normal. And then you start playing worse.
Absolutely. You know, it's all happening subconsciously in your head, right? I think Andy started really well, really fast, like everything was hitting. And then it could be a variety of reasons. It could be thinking, oh, I'm playing so well, let me bring it back to normal. Or it could be, oh, I have a great lead, like I'm just going to relax a little bit, just a little bit, 10%.
And I think the overall theme is just that this game can be so mental, but yet it's so quick. So how do you control your emotions on this roller coaster of ups and downs? It's a tough, tough thing. All right, game 2 is underway. Andy starts off winning the first exchange. Yanyu to serve. And nice backhand there from Yanyu.
Yanyu staying closer to the table, actually being more careful, adding some more quality to her shots. I think she gained some confidence in that first game at the end.
And that's one thing you want to be careful of, right? When you're in control, you don't want your opponent to start getting their confidence back.
Yeah, you want to just go all the way, finish it as fast as possible. And now we see Andy making some more mistakes on her opening.
Fantastic point. Man, that was such a crisp backhand on that loop. So compact.
Yanyu is actually showing her ability to play very spinny, and that's hard for Andy. Andy wants to just smash it. I think for Yanyu to really kind of take control of this match, she's going to have to spin, add the spin.
She's looking way more confident coming out into this second game.
Nice backhand by Andy. As someone who also uses short pips on the backhand, you're looking for that shot to just pound it early and have that pace be different.
And Andy decides that she wants to show a little confidence of her own. 2 points in a row.
And he's going to look to extend this lead.
Small misread on the serve, but it was a great serve by Yanyu.
Oh, 2 really smart serves. 1, very, very heavy underspin, very, very long. Andy hits in the net. Next one, soft no spin, half long. Picks up both points.
Just, you see Yanyu there apologizing, the ball just catching the edge. Andy playing a little bit of touch and looking for that big forehand opener, just goes long.
I see the hesitation in Andy. It looks different than the first game.
Man, nice wide to the forehand with a quick backhand follow-up right to the middle. Looked like Yanyu was a little indecisive there and ended up having to back off the table into defense mode. And Andy saves another point. She's within one.
Andy switching up with that backhand serve this time. She has a lot of tools in her toolkit. She's bringing them all out now. And for this tomahawk serve.
Just missing that good brush. Ball catches the top of the net and doesn't make it over. 9-7. Yanyu. And Yanyu going back to that backhand, but just kind of misses long. Trying to hit it wide into the backhand of Andy.
Really great down the line serve receive.
And Andy was ready for it this time.
It's crunch time.
Each player thinking I need to win 2 might turn out to each player winning 1. Fantastic.
Really nice block from Yanyu. She was right there. She was waiting. And she added nice spin to it.
No. Andy going back to the tomahawk and just trying to get that perfect serve. Misses a couple millimeters low and catches the edge of the table.
You know, it's tough. It's tough at 10-9. You want to make that perfect serve, and it can be really challenging to get it on. Sometimes you want to serve too hard, over-serving.
I call it getting too cute when I'm playing. I'm like, why did I get too cute with that serve? Because it's like, I want to do something real tricky, and it has to be just perfect, and the room for error is nothing.
Right, exactly. And when you're in a high-stress situation, it's really hard. I've seen people miss serves at 10-9 in the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And so it happens to everyone.
And I think it's tough. Like, everything we do, there's some type of mental aspect to it. And especially in the sporting world and something like this, it's quick, it's reaction. You don't even have time to think. So a lot of the time you have to develop your lines of play in training so you can react.
Absolutely. React appropriately.
And we see Yanyu coming out with a little bit of a dance step. She's fired up.
Yeah, she's ready. And I think for Yanyu, she's going to need to play spin. Just heavy spins on the serve, looping with heavy topspin. That's going to help against Andy. And Andy's missing more. You know, she's playing differently than the first game. I think it is that confidence, but it's also Yanyu adding more spin to things.
So, and not to take anything away from Yanyu because she's playing fabulously, but do you think sometimes that number can get in the head of the higher rated player? Like, I shouldn't be having this much trouble with somebody that's lower rated than me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great touch by Yanyu. She's up 3-1. Man, she is energetic. It looks like she found something that she thinks is going to work.
I think she figured out Andy's pattern. You know, she's just going into Andy's forehand. Andy's going cross court. She's just waiting there. And she goes in the back and she just waits. Looks up to Andy to make a change.
And Yanyu is off to a great start. She's on a roll right now. Andy going for it, trying to take her shot, and misses just a little bit wide.
Yanyu utilizing the angles now in addition to the spin. I think she has found something.
And I mean, like you said, Barbara, everybody's earned their way here. So regardless of what your number is on the sheet, she's proving that she fought hard and she belongs.
That's right. She's very much in control of this match right now.
I mean, this happens in table tennis. It's sad to see when somebody's not really on form because it's heartbreaking, right? We want all the players to compete at their best. So hopefully Andy will find something to start pushing back and maybe closing the gap here. And if she can't, you go back, talk to your coach, regroup, and then come game 4, try a new strategy, and hope for the best.
Nice rally. You know, Andy can, if she's having trouble opening, there's an option to just push back. Let Yanyu open. I haven't seen Yanyu open successfully in a long time. She's just countering the whole time. Yanyu's here sitting, pushing, waiting for Andy to loop, and then just countering.
Oh, and she let her go ahead and open up, was there for the counter, but just mistimes it slightly. So we're going into game 4 with Yanyu up 2-1 against Andy May.
Yeah, credit to Yanyu. You know, Andy's making a lot of mistakes on her opening, but Yanyu's actually changing the spin, changing the placement, adding more spin, right? And then you sort of get your opponent to lose their confidence. And then everything stops hitting, and then you lose confidence some more, and it's hard to bring it back.
Yeah, because this game is all about confidence, because the timing and the speed, you don't have time to react. You don't have time to think. That's why when you're doing that reactionary training, you do all the thinking beforehand.
Exactly, and you come in and you have to trust your training. You can't think like, oh, I suddenly forgot how to make any of my shots. No, you know how to make your shot. You demonstrated in the first game that you can make all the shots. You just have to bring it back, maybe spin a little more, hit him a little slower, just get him on the table. And Andy has an option actually in this game to do something totally different. So instead of rushing to open, I'm just gonna push with you. You open. Let's see how it goes. And that can really change the dynamic, change the pace. And sometimes in women's table tennis, it's okay to let your opponent open. That's not a big deal. Whereas in men's table tennis, you'll see them very carefully preventing that opening shot.
Because it seems like the women's game, they have such great counterattacks. The men typically seem to be all about power for the most part. Great touch when on defense, big power when you're opening. And it's almost like an exchange of who can apply the most pressure with power faster. Whereas the women play quick counters, fast-paced rallies. And Andy just still looking a little bit confused. How do you get your confidence back?
Gotta make some shots on the table. You gotta get a string of points, I think. And instead of just going for your shot, you have to just like go for it, let's say just 80% of the power. But the biggest thing is to not get in your head. Trust your training. I know how to hit this. Just do it now.
And it's almost easier for the underdog to always have confidence, because what do I have to lose?
Exactly.
And when they're hitting, it can just snowball into a really difficult task to handle.
Yanyu's playing very well. Her backhands are definitely hitting.
They're sharp, aren't they?
Oh, she is playing hot. Yanyu is, every backhand's hitting. She has great blocks. She has a lot of power.
I mean, not to take anything away from Andy, we know she has a really slow, spinny ball that she can utilize to attack, and she has that big forehand smash. It just catches the net.
And you can see her shaking her head. She's frustrated. She's like, I know I have these tools. I just got to bring him out. Good placement by Andy. She has a way to claw back here. I think she can go into Yanyu's forehand more. You know, she's going to that cross court, like her forehand to Yanyu's backhand. She can go into the forehand more.
Very nice serve there from Andy, saving another point.
Towel break.
And I mean, at this point at 8-4, this is a big gap, all things considered, but she still has enough mistakes left to claw her way back if she wins 2 points for every 1 point that Andy.
Oh, Yanyu's playing so well. Like, she saved that forehand, and Andy, perfect placement this time right into the middle. Oh, really, really
Fantastic.
great play.
Andy played that perfectly. You can tell she had a lot more confidence in the strokes, and they were all hitting. She executed wonderful.
I think she's no longer sort of afraid to lose. She's just playing her game. She's here to win it.
Isn't it amazing how that can just free you up, though, to take your swing?
Exactly. Took timeout from Georgia Tech. A good time.
Yanyu trying to slow the momentum. So it's one of those things with the mental game. Like, when you get to the point where you're finally like, yeah, I give up. I don't know what to do. All of a sudden, you find some freedom.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of times in sports we hear it, just trust your training. Don't get in your head too much. During the match is not the time to figure out your stroke or like be like, oh, how come suddenly my stroke doesn't work anymore? You just like sort of shake it off and say, I know my stroke works. I just got to go for it.
Now, how important is this for Yanyu on a momentum side? You lose a lead going into the 5th game. If Andy comes back and pulls this game off, you got to think that she has the advantage going into game 5.
I agree. I think that momentum would be huge. Yanyu's going to try to nip it in the bud, right? She's going to try to see if she can use that a couple spinny shots, especially from Yanyu's backhand side, neutralize Andy's momentum.
And a rare miss by Yanyu on their backhand there.
I think it's the same thing. Yanyu's like, I could win. And now she's tightening up a little bit.
That's what we saw earlier from Andy.
That's right. Well, that's a great rally. Now they're in it.
Fantastic play by Yanyu there. I mean, I think she knows how important this is. She's got the serve. She has to capitalize. Fantastic receive by Andy. Ties it all up, 9-9. And now Andy has the serve.
Tension's building.
And I mean, especially right now, you only need 2 points to win, and you have 2 serves. You have to be feeling confident right now after clawing back from that deficit.
Really nice comeback with the game point now.
Let's see if Yanyu can save the 1 game point. Push to deuce. Nice backhand opening.
I can see Andy just tense up on that forehand. This is a mental battle now.
And you can tell they both care deeply about this. This is an important win for both players.
I mean, it's a single elimination. Their event is done if they lose here.
Nobody wants to go home early, Barbara.
Definitely not.
But there can be only one.
I'm going to go for it.
And Andy tried that play. It looked like she had it. Hey, you open up. I'm going to look for the counter and just send it a little bit long.
Credit to Yanyu putting a lot of spin on that counter.
And again, it's one of those things that's hard to see. It doesn't seem like it was as much of a mistake from Andy as much as it was Yanyu just creating that spin. And it's something you can't read. You have to anticipate.
Critical serve here from Andy.
All right, and we're back to deuce. And Andy just dumping that serve into the net. Looks like it had a little bit more spin on it than she anticipated. But that backhand flip, that was an aggressive play that could have won that point for her. No, and just like that, it is over. Andy barely misses. Yanyu with 2 fantastic serves to win and deuce 14-12, winning the match 3-1.
Nice upset from Yanyu from Georgia Tech. I'm impressed with her play. I mean, she came back in that first game, got to 8 after being down 9-3. And then she's pumped. She's so happy to move on. But she just played better and better and better. And I think she demonstrated just superior mental game this time.
And she seemed to just be feeding off the energy of the environment. She didn't have all of her team in the corner cheering, but sometimes when something's that important to you, just every small execution, you're like, I'm doing it. I'm pulling it off.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it to the next round.
And she played better and better and better. We saw like she wasn't making many of her shots. Andy was totally in control, and then she added those backhand loops.
That backhand, when she pulled that backhand out, was like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we will look forward to seeing Yan Yuxie in the next round, round of 16. Just be excited to move forward.
All right, well, coming up next on table 1, we have the men's championship singles with Texas Wesleyan versus Northwestern. Representing Texas Wesleyan, we have the number 17 seed Lucas Ito versus the number 12 seed Michael Wolsky. And those guys, both players about 2,400, almost evenly rated.
Yeah.
This
It's going to be a battle.
Fantastic. Probably look forward to a lot of good quality points. We're going to be playing a best out of 5.
And we'll get started in just a little bit. I think they're setting up for this next match.
All right, and we're back with the men's singles round of 32. Texas Wesleyan versus Northwestern. So looks like we have Lucas Ito versus Michael Wolsky. What do you think we're going to expect from this match today? Because I understand you know Michael Wolsky from play.
That's right. Michael Wolsky's from the Chicago area. I've known he and his dad. We've played a lot there, and excited to see this. It's going to be a tough competition. And
Michael just missing his opening slightly outside wide.
And I'm expecting to see some long, long rallies. With Lucas Ito, this modern defender style with a huge forehand. And Michael is very, very consistent.
And you called it right off the bat. So with Michael's consistency, then he's probably not going to have too much trouble when he's getting those chops or defensive shots.
Yeah, I agree. I think what the trouble will be is finishing the rally. I think he'll have not a lot of problems starting the rally.
But if Lucas keeps doing shots like that, I think anybody will have trouble with that forehand.
I think Michael is just trying to get a feel for Lucas right now. Is he really a chopper? Is he really a major attacker? How can I deal with this type of style?
Yeah, Lucas looks like he's taken that modern defense to another level. But sounds like Michael has a lot of tools in the box, so I'm sure he'll be ready.
A lot of Michael's strengths are in long rallies. Actually, Michael is not the most aggressive player either. He's actually very, very good at blocking. It can be very challenging. So this might not be his favorite type of style to play against, but he has a lot of tools. Great play by Michael, hitting it wide into Lucas's forehand, preventing Lucas from just doing that big swing.
And now Michael one serve to left, just down 1.34. Went for the opening just a little bit long. You see him doing some self-talk. Maybe he just quite didn't have the angle right or the timing right. But he coached himself, and hopefully he'll pull it off in the next shot.
Oh, Lucas's serve is hard to read. That was a heavy topspin. Michael's missed two. Great touch play.
Another nice rally going on. All right, so Lucas off to a hot start. But it's almost to be expected a little bit. When you got somebody as tricky as Lucas, you kind of got to figure out what he's doing. And Michael's the type of player that maybe once he sees what's happening, kind of gets used to the spin, he can come back and right the ship.
Yeah, and hopefully he's starting that journey right now.
Man, big forehand from Lucas.
You know, if the ball is just a little loose for Lucas, he just crushes it on the forehand side. So Michael has to add more spin, more power. And figure out how to deal with Lucas's serve. That backhand serve is very, very confusing.
And Michael with a backhand serve of his own, confusing Lucas.
Absolutely.
Back to the backhand serve, 5-10. Oh, just a little bit low racket speed there. Had the right idea, going for the slow spinny third ball attack. Now, do you think that might be an option or a choice moving forward into game two? You think Lucas can hit through a slow spinny opener?
I think slow spinny openers from Michael's side should go into Lucas's backhand. Because if you do that into his forehand, Lucas can just get close to the table and just counter loop it. I think we'll see how Michael handles Lucas's serve. I mean, he missed about 3 points just on Lucas's serve. That backhand serve is really difficult to read. I think that's going to be a big kind of game changer if you can handle that better. And I think Lucas attacked as much as Michael in this game. Lucas truly playing that modern defender style. I think he's going to look to continue to do that. He really had the upper hand here.
And I think, you know, where Michael has to be careful, you have to think about both types. It's almost like you're playing 2 different players at the same time. But either way, there has to be something that Lucas is uncomfortable with, and Mike just has to find it.
Agreed.
So Mike with a wonderful opening, pushing Lucas off the table, getting the defense started, but not quite converting. 1-0. Going for the counter play. Lucas wins that exchange. Going up 2-0 with the serve.
I'd like to see Michael go into Lucas's forehand a little bit more on his attacks. I mean, he's going to his backhand when they're loose, but I think Lucas is getting comfortable. It's like only in the backhand.
Fantastic play there by Michael. Changing the angles really nicely there, and Lucas trying to opt for the forehand, going for the full-on attack on that exchange. I mean, that looked like a real nice strategy, trying to keep it to the backhand, and he found the ball he liked opening wide to the forehand, but just putting it into the net.
So Michael drawing out the rallies, right? Staying in that rally longer. Michael's really good at playing long rallies, so I think he's not going to become impatient. It's more like he's still trying to figure out, what can I do with Lucas?
Little more success opening on the backhand serve, but not quite in the rally, having success on the long opening shot from Lucas. So we could at least maybe say step 1 complete. He's figuring out the serve. Now he has to figure out how to deal with the third ball. Fantastic attack from Michael.
I think he's figuring it out. You know, as the match goes on, it's like more of the pieces are coming together.
I think that should be the next table tennis NFT, a player that's just a bunch of puzzle pieces. Maybe a little bit of a misread of spin on that serve.
And Michael not swinging fully. I think he just tried to kind of dink it over. It had too much spin for that.
Nice counter block.
That is Michael's shot, actually. He's so good at blocking and so good at countering.
I mean, that misdirect down the line with the backhand, that's hard for anybody. I guess unless you have incredibly fast feet and good footwork. Michael with a fantastic opening.
I think it's coming together. I mean, Michael has figured out how to get Lucas, first of all, not to just loop kill everything. He's figuring out the serve. He's figuring out the positioning.
And just like that, Michael has brought it back. All square, 7-7 in the second game. Back to the backhand serve. Michael with a fantastic opening and a great fourth ball follow-up. Well, Michael went a little bit on the defense, but was able to get into the loop-loop rally.
And Michael started that rally really well into the middle for Lucas, kind of preventing him from making the loop. I mean, Michael's back in it.
Fantastic. You said he had that shot. He was right there, and he blocked that power back. That's impressive.
Yeah. I think everyone has this signature, and that's Michael's signature. His backhand block is so good. It's not even a block. It's like a pounding shot.
It's almost like a punch right through the spin, just disrespecting it back onto the table.
Lucas looking for some answers here. Going for that backhand serve.
And Michael with a big opportunity. You could hear the ball just slightly slipping off the racket. I mean, the angles that these players play are so fine. Wonderful opening by Michael. And just like that, the series is tied up 1-game to 1 game.
Michael's really figured out how to receive the serve. That was the big change here. And Lucas didn't go for as many big forehands. I think credit to Michael's ability to change it up and make sure the balls were tighter and to return the serve better.
Well, and you have to be thinking it's incredibly important that Michael blocked back both of those big shots that Lucas did take toward the end there. Because now Lucas has to think, okay, is it placement? Or can I actually hit through him? He might be used to being able to hit through other players.
Absolutely. I mean, he got used to hitting through Michael in the first game. And so now the tides have turned. I think Lucas might, in this game, try to vary his chops more. Because he's not winning points outright on his serve. He shouldn't expect to do that for the entirety of the match. But Michael has figured out how to not make that many mistakes while looping against the chop, and Lucas with his long pips on the backhand can go sometimes no spin, sometimes super heavy. And that could cause extreme frustration for your opponent.
So let's see if Lucas comes out and tries to add a little bit more deception to his lines of play. And see if Michael can recognize it and respond. All right, game 3 is underway. Lucas to serve. So he had a nice slow spin opener, but wasn't quite in the correct position on that backhand.
You saw Lucas step in to make that loop. Really good choice.
Oh, here we got a high toss serve. We haven't seen that from Lucas yet.
It's time for Lucas to bring all the variation.
Well, what's interesting too is for a defender, Lucas has so much power, but you don't see him as amped up and trying to press that power against Michael's game and intimidate him. He went for the big loop there, but just barely missing. You can tell something doesn't quite feel right at the moment.
It's time for Michael to get used to a new serve. It's working again. Lucas bringing in the new variations on the serve.
And yet again, Lucas goes for that big ball. Michael's right there, that signature block, and it keeps him alive. Wins the rally.
I'm curious if Lucas is going to start avoiding Michael's backhand on the attack. Michael's backhand block is very good. I mean, he hasn't gone through it at all yet since the first game.
I mean, even though he's the defender, do you think he opts to maybe go forehand to forehand, trying to bring some counter loop play?
I think so. But I don't know if he's losing confidence in it rapidly, right? He was so confident in the beginning.
And this might be the third of 3 games where we see confidence playing a big role in the outcome.
Absolutely. Oh, nice paddle twiddle by Lucas. You saw that. He changed it. He didn't use his long pips. He used the red side, which is inverted, to make that push.
And Lucas finding some success with the deception, using some deception tactics. Now Lucas, he has all those tools, but sometimes when you have too many things to do, maybe it gets a little confusing in the midst of the action. Maybe it's not just the backhand. Michael with another outstanding block on the forehand side.
This must be frustrating for Lucas. I mean, he's the defender, and now he feels like he's attacking. He can't attack through.
Because Michael has some defense of his own.
Absolutely. Topspin defense.
Maybe the only angle Lucas has left is into the body. Maybe trying to play right to his transition point, because on the wings, Michael looks really solid.
Lucas bringing back the serve variation, giving Michael trouble again.
I mean, sometimes when you have a big attack, it's like a double-edged sword. If your opponent can harness that energy, it works against you. And if that's all you have is just a magnificently strong attack, you need that variation for those opponents that are comfortable with it. It doesn't rattle them, it doesn't make them nervous. So now you have to opt for slower pace, better placement, more spin. And Michael goes for the touch shot as Lucas backs off the table, and it just catches the top of the net. Almost like a drop push.
Yeah, Lucas loaded that up though. That's so much spin.
I mean, it wasn't a bad idea, right? Push your opponent away, then try to pull him in, and then that opens up another fast, hard shot long to the end line. And honestly, most players' footwork in and out isn't quite as good as their side-to-side footwork, right, Barbara? All right, we're tied all up at 9-9. But Michael at least has the serve, needs 2 points. Has 2 chances to start off these rallies on his terms.
It's a big advantage for Michael to have the serve right now because he was struggling again with Lucas's serve.
There it is. Nice control with those opening loops. Waits for the big shot from Lucas and just pounces on it.
Signature block.
Signature. You gonna start calling it the Wolsky?
We should call it the Wolsky. His dad has it too.
And the ball just slips off the paddle of Lucas's opening attack. And just like that, Michael goes up 2-1. So shaky start in the first game for Michael. Looked a little bit confused, but you were right. Favors the long rallies. He's a tactician. He found some strategies that he likes, and he's been able to implement.
Lucas has so much power, but if Lucas is looping at like 70% power, Michael's right there for that signature block, the Wolsky block.
The Wolsky. He's pulled off the Wolsky at least 3 times this game. Probably more than that, actually.
Yeah, at least 3 for sure.
That's just it. I hate that feeling when you're playing and your opponent, you have that big shot and it's all coming back on the table. Because if they're not quite missing, it almost feels like you're drowning.
Exactly, because you're like, I put everything into here. And you're just getting it back? Then it's like, what do I do about that?
So, I mean, Lucas definitely, he didn't do a whole lot of the twiddling, but maybe we'll see in game 4 if he decides to try. And he was finding some success with Mike, but Mike's so consistent.
Yeah.
So even if you're twiddling, he's not opting for power where he might make more of a mistake. He's just playing a nice high arc spin that is very safe and then waiting for that attack of his own, or he's starting to catch the rhythm of Lucas when he attacks, and then the Wolsky's there.
It's going to be a show.
All right, let's see what Lucas does. So Lucas off to a nice start, wins the first point in game 4. Just missing a little bit long. That could be some of the deception and spin variation from Lucas there. Maybe taking a little bit more spin off the ball than Michael's been used to. Lucas just a little bit slow to turn the corner there, but you can tell he wants to be aggressive. I mean, we know Lucas has the big shot. It looks like the timing's just a little bit off.
I wonder if he's getting a little bit tired. This is a long, draining match, and he's not putting as much body, as much force into it.
I mean, and you make a good point. This is the last day of a 3-day championship, and with a style as aggressive as his, it's got to be tiring playing as many matches as he's playing. Whereas someone like Michael, it's more like a marathon runner, right? You can just keep going, because it's not quite as explosive. So fatigue possibly playing a factor here. I mean, you got to wonder if they played on day 1, could this be going in the other direction?
Absolutely. As a modern defender, I think that's one of the most athletic styles that you have to play. And it's hard to kind of keep your energy up on the 3rd day.
I mean, it might have been a fantastic time for a plug for an energy drink sponsor. If anybody's interested, wink, wink. Fantastic power followed by touch and just a little slip up to not finish the combination.
Yeah. That Lucas loaded that chop up. So Michael is giving him spinny loops, and Lucas just went for it. It looked high, but it was loaded.
And that's kind of the hard part about Pip's defenders, right? You can almost make it harder for yourself when you decide to go real aggressive on the attack. Because if I super spin the ball and he chops it back, I'm kind of giving myself the spin back. But then Lucas has the ability to take some of that spin off, so it's very confusing. Great save! Oh, and just drops it off the edge, opting to play short.
Incredible, incredible
That
rally.
was a great rally. So do you think that deception, that's what Lucas needs to bring here? Adding in the chop and then finishing it with power.
Yeah, absolutely the deception on the chop. Absolutely kind of combining the loop and the chop better. And now you see Lucas not just going for the forehand corner, but like both corners after a setup.
Oh, and that ball looked like it was going to creep over the net, but it comes back down on Michael's side.
The points are becoming more complicated. I think in the beginning it was, let me get Lucas's serve on the table. Let me figure out the spin of the backhand. But now we're seeing looping to both corners and then the middle and then both corners. So we're getting more complex as the match goes on. And that's a testament to the level of both of these players and the technicality of this specific match.
And something I never thought about before as you're explaining it, it's almost like how a game can evolve, or the match can evolve from game to game as they get more comfortable. Because if they've never seen each other before, as they start getting more comfortable, they have to bring more things to rattle the opponent. Fantastic opening from Michael. Closes the gap to 2. That conversion attack was great. And Michael's within 1.
Timeout. Good choice. Michael's forehand is hitting again. You know, Lucas is chopping and Michael is just going slow loop, fast loop, slow loop, fast loop. And Lucas does not want that. Lucas wants you to slow loop miss. I think Lucas might bring in some more serve variation. He might use that forehand high toss serve again. We haven't seen it. End game is a good time to bring it out if you feel confident in that serve. We might also see some different combinations. So maybe we'll see a straight serve attack from Lucas.
I mean, he definitely has the attack there. He can probably play modern attacker almost as well as anybody.
On Michael's side, I think it's important to remain patient. I saw him trying to play a little bit more like, oh, I just want to finish.
Yeah, but patient, just not passive.
Exactly. I'm going to keep the pressure. He's going to keep the pressure on Lucas, right? He has to, or else Lucas is just going to kill the forehand.
Great forehand attack. Michael evens it up. Game 4, 8-8. 2 important points coming up for Michael. And the first serve, very tricky.
Well, nice
Catches
pickup on the
Lucas.
serve. Very wide. I think that made the difference.
And he goes back to the well. Now, do you think when he went back, his coach said, hey, you've got the serve. Why don't we try going wide to his backhand, see how he does? And now Lucas has the chance with 2 serves of his own. And just like that, Michael Wolsky wins the match. He's moving on.
Moving on to the round of 16. That's a great place to be. He's going to be joined there by a lot of great players, and he's probably really happy to take this win. Northwestern was the 4th seeded team, and they didn't perform as well as they liked as a team. And so they're here to make a statement in singles.
So you proud of Mr. Michael there?
I think it was a really good evolution
Yeah.
of the match, right? I think he started figuring out what Lucas was doing over time. I'm proud of him. Sure, his dad's proud of him too.
I mean, he played great, and nothing against Lucas. Lucas has all the tools, big power, good deception, but just sometimes one player's kind of got it, is on form more than the other.
I think when Michael blocked a bunch of Lucas's attacks, that doesn't feel good.
No.
That doesn't feel good, especially if you're used to your attacks ending the point.
Yeah, when your signature shot comes back, kind of take the wind out of your sails and make you think, I have to do something different.
Right. Then you may overplay, you may underplay it, you may not use it at all. And I think Michael really kind of got in his head with that. Well, a great match. We have some great table tennis, and I think we're going to set up for our next one, which is the women's round of 16 with Maria Castillo from MIT and Lavanya Maruthapandian from California. This is going to be a close one, too.
I think it'll be a great match. Maria has been showing herself to be a player that has all kinds of different serves, different attacks. She has a lot of misdirection.
She's very clever. She has a lot of experience. She played in 2 world championships from her home country, Colombia. She was part of the Lindenwood team and the University of Wisconsin-Madison team, and now as part of MIT.
Definitely a free agent there.
Exactly. And Lavanya was a cadet star out of the Bay Area, and now at California. It's going to be good.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and we will see you all for the round of 16 Women's Championship Singles.
tell me now, so I'll know.
Maybe Sophie, but she's playing.
Okay, but she may come later, so
Yeah.
then she can coach you. But I need to know that. Okay? All right. And so when she does come, just kind of nod to your point over there that's your coach.
Okay.
All right? Okay, so ladies, one side is red, one side is blue. Who wants to call it? She's calling blue. And it is blue, your choice. So she chooses to serve. You have your choice of end. This end. Okay? All right? Wait till Thomas gets back. Your 2-minute warm-up starts now.
And we're back with the Women's Championship Singles round of 16. We have MIT versus California. The 8 seed for MIT, Maria Castillo, versus the 12 seed from California, Lavanya Maruthapandian. So this one is probably going to shape up to be a great one, isn't it, Barbara?
We're a big battle here. We're going to see great display of women's table tennis at the collegiate level.
And we've seen from Lavanya throughout the tournament, she has that real big forehand.
And her backhand's quick too. So she is a prodigy of the Bay Area training. She was part of some of the national cadet teams as a junior, right? And now she's at the collegiate level making her debut.
And we have Maria, who's potentially the craftier player, versus the quick backhand and power forehand of Lavanya. It's going to be interesting to see the type of strategies they take. And there's a quick backhand play. Great serve there by Lavanya.
Both of these players were critical in their team's success at the team level, right? So MIT got third, Berkeley got second.
Some more quick backhand exchanges. Lavanya coming out on top.
Lavanya here is going to give the pressure. She's the one who's going to play fast. And Maria has the entire set of tools, different serves, different locations. Maria is a very, very experienced player. Has represented Colombia at the World Championships in 2011 and 2013. Experience at the collegiate level. She never counter out. She has so many tools.
But more tools, more problems, no?
I think in table tennis, more tools is just better. There's Lavagna's backhand again. Quick, off the bounce. And the pressure is on because Lavagna's backhand super, super fast into the corners.
But I mean, we're seeing here with that fast backhand and powerful forehand, even though her game's simple, there's less to think about. It's easier to stay committed. Play her game. It's going to be maybe when Maria finds a way to nullify her best, where not having maybe as many tools becomes a problem for Lavagna. But currently, Lavagna applying the pressure successfully. Big forehand rip down the line. If she had a Wolsky, that would have been coming back.
Look at the corners that Lavagna is playing. Very, very wide, outside of the end line, and they're so quick. She really tests the other players' footwork.
Man, nice slow spin by Lavagna, but the second follow-up fourth ball attack just going long.
Well, Maria did sort of a chop block on it, and that made it very confusing to Lavagna. And that's the bag of tricks, the bag of tools that Maria has.
Powerful ripping forehand. All right, so Maria with a little bit of work to do. Nice forehand flip.
One of Maria's strengths is her serve receive. She never misses outright. And when she sees that opportunity, she's just going to go for it.
I mean, those are hard to do. That very direct flip is just difficult. So great execution and technique there. Two
Again.
side spin balls.
Look at that creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria has a lot of these kind of tricky shots, spin-changing shots, very confusing for a younger player like Lavagna who maybe hadn't seen a lot of those, not used to that pace change.
I mean, it was definitely unorthodox, but even though it's not like classical, it can be highly effective. Shovel serve coming in with a good effect, and Maria, the only one back. And Lavagna shuts it down, the rally of Maria.
I think power to power, Lavagna definitely has the advantage. And we saw that in that shot. If she's waiting for it, she can pounce on it. It's going to be really hard. But Maria on that backhand with those side spin chop blocks, she did 3. She got 3 points this game on it.
Very tricky. I mean, she was close. She was right there. She did everything right to close that, narrow that gap, come back and try and force the deuce, but it's kind of tough when you're that far behind and it's 10-something. It only takes one mistake.
Yeah, or one great shot by Lavagna as well. I think that was a really nice closing. It took a lot of guts. It's hard to play a 10-9 and just go for it, but that's what you need to do.
Yeah, because the stakes are so hard, right? It's a high stakes, high risk, high reward. You missed that shot, it's a deuce. Now you got this little mini game battle to win by 2 when you could have just closed out the game.
I'm going to expect to see more of those tools and tricks from Maria. They worked really well. I think Lavagna's going to try to stay closer to the table, continue to make those powerful shots.
Wonderful recovery. And then Lavagna just missing the big forehand. Maria looking like she's going for a little bit of power herself there.
I think she was. I think she was aiming at the middle. Try to neutralize those two wings from Lavanya.
Great wide push, opening up the big backhand down the line shot. Going for a little bit more of that side spin. Is that kind of like a chop block
That's
there?
a little bit of a chop block, yeah.
Oh, wonderful serve, but just misses the third ball.
Yeah, Maria had the right setup, right? She got what she wanted. She just didn't execute. That can feel not great. Lavanya again here with the lead.
Fantastic serve from Maria.
Maria has a lot of different serves. You know, she won directly on the second one. On the first one, she got what she wanted, but didn't convert. We're gonna see a lot of that from her.
Now, I think we were seeing that from Lavanya before. When she goes for that serve, it looks like underspin, but she drags the paddle below the table, almost like serving a dead ball, but trying to trick you into thinking that she's putting something on it. And the ball goes just long on the receive.
Lavanya's smart shot. Very slow and spinny, changing the pace, right? She didn't play fast that time. She's a commanding lead.
Well, that's one back. We've seen Maria come back from a decent deficit in the previous game. Just 1 point at a time. Great opening backhand by Maria. Closes the gap. Down 2 points. Lavanya to serve. And Maria stepping it up, showing some great consistency over these last 3 points.
And also more spin. More spin and longer. The shots are hitting closer to the end line. It's harder for Lavanya to stand over the table and swing.
That forehand flip, though.
No hesitation. She's 100% confident. She knows she's going to win the point.
That's some high-level stuff right there. So just coming back from a quick towel break, Maria has found a way to close the gap. They're tied 6-6. Maria with a tricky serve.
Maria changing from backhand serve to forehand serve to shovel serve. She has a tomahawk she hasn't brought out yet.
Chop block followed by 2 side spin loops on the backhand.
Yeah, she's bringing the spin, right, from a little farther away from the table. It makes it harder for Lavanya. I think Lavanya wants to play fast, 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 fast. And Maria's slowing it down. And again, same thing, slowing it down, adding more spin.
And that forehand just looks so classical, while that backhand looks almost like a dragging across the back of the ball to create that side spin. Not many players are capable of that.
So Maria was down 6-2, and she went up 9-6. That's quite the string of points.
It is a wonderful rally by Maria. And just missing a wonderful opportunity. That serve was a great setup. Lavanya gave her a ball that had an opportunity to attack, but Maria just missing wide. Maria with one more serve to try and make this 10-8. Let's see if Lavanya can even it up. Just missing the slow spin to the middle. A little bit long. And now Maria just needs one more point.
Absolutely. What a string of points from Maria. But she needs to earn this last one, right?
Well, and Lavanya with the serve. She has a good chance to bring this back. And just missing the signature forehand. So now we're all tied up, 1-1.
I'm proud of Lavanya for going for it. You know, she never hesitates when she swings. Not all of them hit the table, but she goes for it. And I think sometimes you keep going for it, they end up hitting soon. So it's great to see that. And I think she might be actually going a little too fast. Like she just turns and smacks. She just gives herself a second to think. Not a second, like 1/10 of a second.
But just a little bit of a quick tempo.
Tempo adjustment.
I mean, we are in the round of 16. After this, it's quarterfinals, right? So you have to be thinking, like, I'm almost there, like in closing distance of being one of the top players trying to compete for that trophy.
Absolutely. And both of these players already successful in the team event, right? And so they're looking to show how good they can be in singles as well. Take them some more hardware for their school.
Well, we know both colleges would be happy to prominently display another championship. And a fantastic rally to open up this third game of the match.
Really, really good rally to start. I mean, these players are going to have to play. They're going to play these long rallies.
I mean, so far, this is kind of what you want to see. They've been doing a good back and forth exchange. So it's kind of hard to see who has the advantage right now. And Maria with the great serve there goes up 3-0. Unfortunate mistake there, trying to keep it really short and prevent Lavanya from opening up on her. Short underspin trying to set up the third ball and just doesn't quite lift it.
But watch what Maria did. She did this like side spin push. It's very complicated as a receive, and I think that is tricky for Lavanya. She has to adjust her swing and everything.
Great quick off the bounce backhand there. Take a little bit of time away from Maria. Works out. Now the score is 4-3. Man, wonderful big opening shot from Lavanya, but Maria's right there with the counter. Nice block.
Maria's a little late on that loop. I think Lavanya's backhand's still super quick. And
nice redirection. Kind of a slow spin ball there and then changes the angle to win the point. Maria must be pretty comfortable with her own backhand, opting to go to Lavanya's backhand with a long serve there.
yeah, I think when you go to someone's backhand with that long serve, you're just going to start a topspin rally, and she feels very consistent in that topspin rally.
Nice opening flip with Lavanya, followed up with a great attack.
You know, what's been great to see is that I think both players are so used to playing against each other now. They're sort of anticipating where the balls are. So no one's really catching anyone off guard. Maria's right there for that counter loop. She just didn't execute it correctly. Lavanya's right there over the table for the shots.
Just turning into kind of a war of attrition here.
Yeah. You know, war of a big rally, it looks like. Let's go into the rally and just go at it. Looks like Maria's stepping back, kind of awaiting Lavanya's fast shots, but then Lavanya plays a slow shot, and that could be difficult. And then she plays a fast shot, and then you get confused about how to defend.
So this is kind of interesting. Maria was the one that was off to the slower start and comes back and wins the games. And then Lavanya has Maria with a big lead on her and strings together her own points here to come back and win this game, kind of reverse the game too. You would think the player with the lead has the advantage, the momentum, but we've seen 2 good reversals so far. Let's see if Maria can stave it off. She's got to save 4 game points. It's kind of a tall order. Just a little bit of hesitation. Maybe caught a little close to the middle more than she'd like. And Lavanya wins game 3 to go up 2-1 against Maria Castillo.
Well, Lavanya felt dominant in rallies. You know, she won when the rallies extended. She won a bunch. And yeah, no comeback this time for the person who was behind. This is turning out to be a real big battle. Like, the points are long. I think they've gotten used to each other's serves, and they're just going to battle it out. I like to see them play more into each other's middles. I think that both of their middles, so Lavanya into Maria into Lavanya's middle, they're both so strong and so consistent on the wings.
All right, looks like Maria's still getting a couple more observations from her teammate who's coaching her singles match. Lavanya looks like she's ready to play. So maybe Lavanya returning to the court first might show who has a little bit of the higher confidence level currently. All right, see a nice serve by Maria to open up this 4th game of the match. Fantastic rally there.
And good placement by Maria into the middle to sort of end the rally.
So Maria off to a hot start again. Let's see if she can hang on to the lead this time.
You see the players are just starting with a topspin long serve. It's just straight topspin long, and then they just go back in, back in, back in. They both feel confident in the rallies. They want to rally.
Almost like there's a mutual agreement, like, hey, let's just win these rallies. Let's get into some big rallies. And this isn't surprising. The matchup seems like they're very close and competitive, so going to a game 5 isn't something that I would have been shocked if you told me we were going to end up there. Absolutely.
A 6-0 lead is a big lead, but this has been a topsy-turvy match. We haven't seen scores that are like 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4. It's usually a big lead in the comeback.
Oh, yeah, we've seen players get confidence and go on strings. That was huge.
That's a big confidence booster.
I think Maria might be thinking, I can't let her do that again.
I don't care that I have a 5-point lead.
Maria going for a big shot of her own and just misses. But Lavanya's got a long way to climb back. Now Marie can play a little bit more free and relaxed with the lead. But you got to imagine she's going to start tightening up little by little as Lavanya gets points.
And Lavanya is also playing extra free. I think when you have the lead, you don't feel like you can play as free. You relax a little bit, and not in the way that it makes you play great. Sometimes you relax a little bit and you start playing a little passive.
Wonderful rally there. So almost like, oh, I only need a couple more points. They're sure to make a few mistakes, so I'm just going to keep the ball on the table.
Not the way to go, because you got to earn each and every point. And certainly your opponent is not going to say, I'll just make a couple mistakes
For
now.
sure. And these players are so good that if you try to not lose, they're going to take advantage. So Lavagna's within 3. This isn't over yet.
Nice string of points.
And just a small misstep on the serve there. Lavagna's ready, waiting with that powerful forehand. I think this next point, this receive, is real important for Maria, isn't it? You don't want to see that lead close to 1.
Maria's serve receive is so good. I think she wasn't quite sure what was on that, but she had the touch to kind of make this half-long receive. Nice targeting by Lavagna right into the middle.
So Lavagna keeping her hopes alive to finish this match right here. Maria with the fantastic serve, but Lavagna's there to open up and have a nice quick rally, followed up to finish it with a big power forehand. That was great.
That was absolutely top level women's table tennis timeout from the MIT side.
I think it was enough to rattle Maria.
Yeah. I mean, Maria's playing well. Lavagna is playing super well. It's like when Lavagna was behind, she just let go. She let go and she just put the pressure on. It's pretty incredible. It's, again, it's become this mental battle. Tension building, 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 building.
So it looks like it's 9-8. Maria still has the service. So she has the advantage, you would think, here to try and get this to 10-8. But then she still has to make 2 really great receives and not make any mistakes. And Lavagna, I'm sure she's hiding something. I think a lot of players, they keep that special serve for when it's on the line. You don't want to let your opponent see it. You don't even want them to know you have it until you absolutely need it. You think Maria goes for that tomahawk?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I don't think so.
And Lavagna ties it up, 9-9. Now the pressure's on. You're on the receiving end, and you gotta stay alive. You gotta win this game if you're Maria.
Absolutely.
Maria opting for the side spin backhands. Sets herself up with a nice forehand shot, but couldn't quite convert.
Lavagna doing something very smart, playing a little slower. The ball is dropping faster. It's not these pow, pow, pow shots.
And just like that, Maria goes for the opening big forehand to try and stay alive and puts the last shot just into the net. Lavagna wins 11-9 in the 4th, winning the overall series 3-1.
And what a seesaw match. I mean, Maria was up 6-0, and we were talking about that 5th game, and it just reversed.
There's just so many strings, the players going on runs. It's exciting in a different way, as you think like, oh, that player, she lost it, she lost the touch, she's in her own head. But the next thing you know, it turned it around.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job to Lavagna. Her forehands and backhands from both wings, and her great placement into the middle.
Just exciting stuff here in the women's round of 16. Maria Castillo is advancing to the quarterfinals.
Lavanya is advancing
Sorry.
to the quarterfinals.
I read the sheet wrong. Yes, Lavanya.
And congrats to her. She's excited. Berkeley looking to fill a lot of spots into the quarterfinal.
All right, so now coming up soon, we're going to have the men's championship singles round of 16. But for now, myself and my good friend here, Barbara Way, we will be signing off. So stay tuned so that we can watch Washington versus Texas Wesleyan.
Well, welcome back to the 2022 College National Championships. My name is Roger Dixon, and I'm here with Matt Harrington on Court 1. Right now we have Washington's Sahil Pire and Texas Wesleyan's Eduardo Tomake. And this should be a pretty exciting fireworks match again.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Tomake play a few matches throughout this tournament, and if he can get on his forehand, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, trying to stay into that pocket and keeping him inside is hard because he's got great footwork to get around it.
I think he might be the only JPEN player in the tournament as well.
I did see a few traditional Chinese pen holders, but I believe you may be correct.
There's a scattering. A couple of choppers here and there as well. Wow.
Yeah, Sahil was right on top of the bounce after that good attack from Eduardo. It's got a really complicated little rolling serve there that you can't really attack real hard, and it lets him open with that big forehand. Nice touch.
I think we're going to
Yeah.
see Sahil really try and lock him up in that backhand corner with some kind of quick early in the bounce counters.
That was sideline to sideline coverage by Eduardo, and makes it pay with that big forehand again. You'll see him do that almost exclusively for the attack. Really tight to the table. That forehand of Eduardo's is just, he's been on a tear with all of his matches. Nobody's getting him into these little drop counter push matches at all. And he just gets right into, goes right to work.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get trapped into those cross-court counter rallies with him. He's just so comfortable in those situations.
Yeah, he kind of baits you into thinking that that's a good play. Really bad idea. So strong on that side. And that's something else. He's got a lot of power, but also his placement's been really tight. I mean, he puts the ball exactly on the center, on the sideline, and Sahil cannot cover it with his backhand.
Great serve there from Tomoki. 7 game points in the first.
Good drop return there. He had yet to do that much spin on the drop. He'd been kind of just dropping it dead. There he went really heavy underspin on the drop return. So he's getting that leaked out just a little bit long. I think if I was his coach, I'd tell him just tighten it up a little bit tighter to the end line and don't let Eduardo get such a free swing at that ball.
Yeah, I think throughout the first, Sahil looked a little bit uncomfortable. It was almost like he was trying to do too much to shut down the forehand. You know, he was either trying to play really, really tight or sometimes trying to be a little bit too creative with, you know, the down the line shots and some variations of touch shots and stuff. But I think it's good for him, especially in this first game, to try some different creative options to see, you know, what he can do to stop that forehand attack. But I mean, Tomoki is so steady on his first opening and always seems to find his forehand on the follow-up. I don't know if we even saw him touch a topspin ball with his backhand throughout that first game.
Yeah, not so far. It was really even hard to see him have that happen when he was playing doubles yesterday.
I think that's the challenge for Puri.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, it's a good get yourself on the board early. And you can see just from this angle, of course, Tomoki really standing off the corner. He's ready for the step around straight away. Any chance he has to get onto his forehand immediately. You can see his right elbow's just off the corner.
Really nice touch. Just kept that right just above the net. Surprised he didn't attack that.
A net and an edge. It's as lucky as it gets in this sport.
Wow. So now he has a 2-point lead. Let's see what Sahil can come up with on the service side.
It's good to see him opening. I think he'd been trying to play too tight and not really playing assertively, especially the second half of the last game.
He got the net and the edge, and he serves into the net. So again, the fear of the long serve, because Eduardo's definitely going to take care of that if it does leak out long.
Gets the point back.
So they both gifted each other a point on the service game.
And first time we've really seen the backhand, but he used it well to control and just focus on placement.
Yeah, he didn't actually. Oh. First time they both counter looped and the net got in the way again. So he was able to keep a 1-point lead.
That's a great shot from Bure. He needs to be a little more aggressive and have some confidence in his attacking game.
Yeah, especially from the backhand, because it allows him to angle into the backhand.
Yeah, he's got to be careful with that, and I think that's why he was so, I guess, focused on trying to keep the ball as tight as possible. Manages, it's short, but even if it's a little bit high, Tomoki just gets up over the table.
See, I like that better right there, that return, going wide to the corner instead of going into the middle. The middle's safe, but it allows the forehand to come into play too easily. There he went up the wide forehand line, and while Tomoki could play the forehand, it wasn't quality because he was on the run.
Right.
Fully
Half long serve.
Total comfort stepping around and getting his forehand in on that. Great athleticism to get out of the way to block it back, but couldn't follow up that creative return. Sending it long. Down by 2 and got to serve.
Good elbow placement there from Puri as well. It's just going to be too easy for Tomoki.
Yeah, it's hard to handle the serve because it feeds right into his favorite spot. Got to be aggressive on the return.
Still managing to keep it pretty level here.
Yeah, at this point in the first game, Tomoki had ran away with the game.
It's a great play from Puri. I think anytime he does anything half long or long, he has to do it with the intention of following up with either a really well-placed block or a counter-attack.
Good idea, just really difficult to pull off. Had such a sharp angle into the backhand. It's a good idea to try to loop it around the corner, but man, that's not easy. So here we are, 9-9.
Finds the backhand. That's the key for Puri. If you can find the backhand, I think your odds of winning the point go up pretty significantly.
Yeah, I was going to say, being 9-9, I feel comfortable with serve, but right now.
Great footwork.
Yeah. Well-trained third and fifth ball attacks, and that's what's been winning him the majority of his points. Off the serve, being knowledgeable about where his positioning is, has been dramatically the difference in this game so far.
Yeah, it's just looking too easy for him. His pickup on that half-long ball is probably one of his strongest areas, I think, of his game.
I mean, if you look at his body positioning, it almost puts him there. I took a little off of that one, made it a little more spinning. So now with the 2-game lead, all the pressure is on the other side of the table for Washington's Sahil Pure.
I think if you look at the half-long openings from Tomoki, I mean, he very rarely misses them. And he almost always, anytime the ball's gone half-long, he's picked up almost every single opportunity. He's not wasting any of them.
Not at all.
And I think one of the absolute strengths he has, while he's getting a heavy amount of rotation, he's able to keep the ball very low, but he also gets quite a good momentum or forward motion on the ball. It's not like a, he's not
Straight
kind of
lift.
throwing the ball up. Yeah.
Well, a lot of it, I believe, is with his body positioning.
Mhm.
He's very low. He crouches really, and he's got great leg strength. So that leg strength lets him drive it forward while keeping a soft hand and brushing it up quick over the top of over the top. I remember doing that when I was young.
I can't even remember now. It was so long ago. I think I was the opposite. I think I was the spinning up, getting counted.
Working on your blocking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's okay. Helped my coaching career.
Oh, forced another backhand. It's only the second backhand that Sahil has forced him to do, and he's won both times. But if you look, this is a great angle. You can see how far into the backhand corner Tamaki is.
That's a great play.
Yeah, he wasn't fully committed to that opening. He opened to open and got penalized for it. Good job. Sahil doing a good job.
Goes long and fast this time. A little risky, but he served so many half long.
Yeah.
Throwing in a long, fast one there. Just catching Tomoki off guard. And definitely the right shot selection, going for the backhand opening. Made a few unforced errors with that shot.
He's a little tall, so I'm wondering if he's getting just a little jammed on that. Because again, there you saw a strong opening right into the elbow. But still 3-3, so no concern at the moment. Just do your job.
This time Puri going for that half long opening.
Yeah, he was a little late on the contact. He needs to contact it a little bit earlier to make it drop into the table. I'm surprised he hasn't served shorter to the forehand.
Yeah, I mean, given where Tomoki is standing on the table for serve receive.
It's like he's like, go ahead and serve. He's like challenging himself to beat him Eduardo at his strongest part of his game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking for backhand and someone's standing off the corner, you've really got to get them back inside the table first. That's a super play there from Sahil Puri.
Very nice hand. Very, very good feel. Nice drop. Very nice. Again, the soft hands over the top of the middle of the table, dropped that right in where it was very uncomfortable to drop it back. And it had enough rotation.
And a back and forth net play there. Puri picking up the point.
He's going over to thank the net. Thank you, my friend.
It's kind of similar situation to what we saw in the first game. It was the first game. With the get a lucky point and then miss your own serve. It's unfortunate for Puri, but
at least it wasn't deeper into this game. Rather have it happen earlier. Nice spin. Messed up Eduardo's timing on the counterattack. Didn't quite jump out to him, jumped more up on him.
I mean, this is a good move for Sahil. I mean, he's allowed Tomoki to be the aggressor for the majority of the game. But against the first ball, he's not used to, perhaps not comfortable or not used to in this match at least, having to deal with someone attacking against him. And I think every time Sahil's done it, he's had pretty good success rate.
And that was well placed into the backhand. Drew him into the middle and then went outside behind him.
He's still really going towards the backhand side a lot. Even the, even the short follow-up, still trying to keep towards the backhand.
Yeah, I've always told people that if your opponent has a good forehand and they're playing that corner, serve short, draw them farther over so they open up the backhand.
Probably the most powerful forehand we've seen from Puri so far. Saved it for the right time.
Yeah, and we got to hear how strong Eduardo's ball was off the microphone. It'd been tricky to even get that ball to the corner, though, for Eduardo, because it's so strong from Sahil. Let's see what the service answer is here.
And there's that height advantage coming into play.
Off the net ball, able to drive it back down into the table. Yeah, I would have been reaching for that one. Sahil had no problem with it. It's interesting.
Go back a game.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting there how he did the return. It's like a flip, but it's like a side spin flip deep, and it just kind of drops into the middle where it's not a loop. It's it's an indecision from Eduardo. And hey, Sahil gets on the board, gets to play another game.
I think we saw, particularly in the second half of that game, not as many kind of half-long loose plays. Everything was a little bit tighter. Puri got a little bit more opportunity to open up himself. I think that made a huge difference. And, I think one of the most dangerous things about Tomoki that we've seen in matches is that he's like a runaway train. If he starts building momentum with his forehand, I mean,
how do you stop him?
It's really difficult to stop him. And so this is an interesting situation with Puri tightening up a lot and just being able to get that one game. We'll see how Tomoki comes back, whether he's able to bring the momentum back with his forehand or whether he maybe falls off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of wonder if he's going to be a little angry at himself for letting that game kind of get away, because he did catch up, and he was in a position where he could have played out even if he would have converted. And so now the pressure is kind of more on him to finish this game. You don't want the guy hanging around.
No.
Yeah, because bad things can happen right at the end. AKA net edge
double
ball.
net points and net edge points. Speaking of nets, just a little clip there.
Still good coverage on that wide forehand. So still nice and tight, 1-1. Tomoki was not able to get out and create a big lead.
Brilliant play there down the line, but managed to kind of bend the ball back in towards the table a little.
A lot of players take the safe cross court, and it takes a little bit more confidence to go outside, down on that line.
I think Puri has to do that. I mean, Tomoki cross-court forehand, J-Pen style, has just fantastic spin control and ball arc. But if Puri can have the confidence to take those forehand counters down the line, or forehand winners.
So my question at this point is, Eduardo looks a little uncomfortable, and I don't know how many games he actually played yesterday. But I mean, I know he was involved in a lot of the doubles matches for Texas Wesleyan. So is he starting to get a little wear on that energy level that he needs?
I mean, it's tough to play full table forehand all the time. You know, I mean, that's part of the reason why J-Pen has kind of fallen out of the sport more, and we really don't see players like this anymore. But I think it just mostly coming down to tactics from Sahil. And, you know, if you can get that really tight play and you can get very good placement. We saw yesterday, Tomoike probably level-wise, you know, playing against Gal Algeri, you feel like it would be a maybe even match. Algeri just kind of ran through him. And Algeri's a blocking player. He controls placement and counters and looks for wide angles. And I think that gives some insight into, you know, how strong or how important good placement is, and the difference in level with Tomoike between when he's in a power position, when he's in control, and when he's not in control of the placement. And I think we're starting to see some changes now.
Yeah, so Sahil has came out with a whole variation of different plays. He's getting haunted by the missed serves, though.
I mean, he's picking reasonable times to do them. I would 8-1
do it with
up.
a big lead or do it in early in the game.
Fantastic snappy counter down the line. You can see he knows Tomoike is going to tend towards his forehand and look for those cross-court interactions.
Yeah, he's cutting it off quite well and getting it up that line. Really putting Tomoike in a bad position.
And that's really the key for Puri and finding that backhand. You know, get into a more open situation where Tomoike is going to tend towards his forehand corner.
Yeah, I would say that I would not go straight across court. If I was puree with my forehand, I would not go corner to corner. I'd be bending it either sharp on the wide forehand or right up that backhand like backhand line like he's been doing. Needed a little bit more confidence on the backhand. That was the right play.
He didn't really look settled in his footwork position behind that ball either. He almost landed as he hit the ball. Tomoike's closing the gap a little bit here. Puri's going to have to be careful how he proceeds.
Nice flip from the backhand, wide to the forehand.
I think Puri's just taken more initiative in the last two games.
Again on the positioning too.
Yeah.
There was a mistake to the middle of the table, and when Eduardo sees a mistake, he makes you pay.
And that'll do it. And you could see as soon as that ball went up, Tomoike getting across to his forehand, which is unusual for players. Usually if you pop the ball up and it's a little easy, you'll scramble to cover your backhand side. But he tends towards his forehand. And I think it's just the fact that he wants to cover that space, because when he gets backed off the table, he knows he's strong there. Whereas with the, you know, obviously with the J-Pen backhand, it's a little tougher to recover the table. But I think two brilliant games from Sahil Puri, and
it was actually a good head fake.
Yeah.
I just saw it on the replay. He kind of turned his shoulder and leaned in and then took his hand inside.
And then went the other way.
Yeah. That's kind of caused Eduardo to kind of lean over to the forehand side. Little magic in the feint.
So we'll be going to 5. Again.
Huh. Seems like Matt and I have been spending a lot of time in the fifth game areas here. And they've been well played.
Great.
Fifth games
Gives us
too.
so much more to talk about. I mean, especially when you have a match that's 2-0 and now it's 2-2, you can just really look into all these little tactical details. And Going to see what Tomoike can bring back to the table here. Interesting to see him starting off with that pressuring backhand. Is he going to use his backhand more instead of looking for the forehand? Maybe he's going to cover his backhand side a little bit more with the backhand side and play a little bit more defensively, but with good pressure, I think.
That was interesting. He got the ball in the middle where he had been kind of stepping around and ripping. There he took and used his reverse, the penhold backhand to punch it back into the backhand. Different play from Tomoike.
And that's really one of the first times we've seen him miss the half-long opening with the forehand. And I think it's been 2 games since he's been presented with that opportunity. And for Sahil, that's a great thing. Maybe he's unsettled something that Tomoike was really confident and really consistent at before. Great shot out of the body there.
Yeah, he's selecting his positions with spin rather than power. And I think earlier he was trying to power that ball in and making the error. There he's being a little calmer and making more spin. Nice backhand return from Sahil.
And a good placement right at the body there. As you were saying earlier, Sahil's quite a tall player. He's probably about 6 foot maybe. Aiming at the body is a good strategy to use against the taller players. Generally have a wider stance.
Yeah, earlier Eduardo was actually putting more drive on that ball, so it was actually harder to block up that wide line. There he was safer, but it gave the chance to take the counter up to his wide forehand line.
Yeah, it's a big risk to, even if you take 20% of the pace off, to leave the whole table open. This time Puri going towards the middle. He's going to switch ends. Puri with a 5-3 lead. Has a lot of momentum here in this match, coming back from 2-0 down.
And now there's a timeout. I don't know if I will, because you have a little bit of a break here. When you change ends, you can do a little towel, you can take a little bit more time. So I don't know if I would have taken it right there. That's kind of an awkward position at 5-3.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to leave it on the table. Don't want to leave the timeout on the table. But, you know, I don't know what the comfort level is there. Was he seen just not comfortable when they switched sides? You know, not liking the tactical changes that he made?
It's possible. I mean, I guess, sometimes maybe Doru's seen something stood out to him that might be useful. But, I mean, he's already trailing by 2 points at the end here. Even if he loses 1 more point, it's starting to get away. 6-3 in the 5th is, you know, every point's so difficult to come back
it's all downhill from there. This is the uphill part to 5. And then from 5 to 11 is downhill. Especially if somebody gets hot.
Yeah. And Puri just very well balanced, you know, playing at a relatively safe, maybe 70% pace, but
placement.
Very, very good placement.
He had been making that counter up the wide line, but Eduardo definitely turned up the RPMs on that one. Much quicker, powerful shot.
Yeah, and you could see him toss the ball a little bit higher to try and get some more kick on the serve. Wow. That's a beautiful forehand.
Well, that's how you make sure you don't get blocked up the line. You go behind the guy. That was full commitment there, though. I mean, his body was up near the net. If that would have came back on the table, you would have seen some insane footwork to even get to that ball.
And so far, this timeout looking pretty useful. Tomoki winning 3 points in a row to tie this deciding game up at 6-6.
Oh, nice drop. He had been doing a lot more with that ball. That time he took a little bit more out of it.
And Puri's going to take the timeout now, having lost 4 points in a row.
Good call. Yeah.
It really looks like Tomoki is focusing on the short, but looking for that wide angle to Puri's backhand. He's forced a couple of opening errors on that backhand side.
Yeah, he's a really intelligent guy, and much like NCTTA, they made an incredibly intelligent choice to come back here to Round Rock. You know, it's a beautiful facility, and if you guys have a chance, go visit rrsportscenter.com and get to see what they have they offer here. It's really nice. They've taken very good care of us, and kudos to the staff here. Great light, great tables, great floor. Great play.
Lots of close matches, close team ties, close matches.
You know, it's funny, after the break that we've had, it seems like the players' skills level has actually increased. Maybe they have a little more time to practice. I don't know what it is, but definitely you see a lot more of the college guys playing a much more aggressive kind of game.
Looks like they may have lost the ball, possibly. So they just had a couple with a new ball, I believe. So Tomoki holding the serve.
7-6.
And a little bit of a lucky break off the net, but he went for that again, half long. A little bit loose into the backhand side. It's a play we saw from Puri really early in the match that wasn't hugely effective for him.
Big risk that time going to the middle. But he has to change it up. He can't always attack wide with the backhand. You know, if you're expecting that wide to the backhand ball, it gets easier and easier to block and counter. So that time, Tomoki went more to the middle. Just a little long.
And the little surprise long serve ruined by the net there.
It's a nervous long serve.
And that's probably the furthest across the table towards the forehand side we've seen Puri serving. Just on the forehand side of the middle of the table. Won the point outright.
Just enough on it to carry out the end. So you got back into it, now it's 8-8 again.
And a slow but spinny backhand flick. Puri's timeout paying dividends now. Get an idea of how important a timeout can be in a match.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really tough ball to handle as the J-Pen backhand.
And Puri, a really smart play there. He was just so steady.
Took a little bit more off of the ball again.
Very, very difficult ball to try and counter.
But you knew what was going to happen. Tomoki, you know he's going to go for it.
He had to go for it, yeah. And Puri trying to move around quickly to potentially attack there. Figures it's too short and drops it. Pays the price. In that situation, you've
still got one more
got to
game
take
point
the shot.
And match point.
And he really goes for that angle. And this is the difference between your normal table tennis players and your higher level players. It's the absolute commitment to the shots at the most crucial stages of the game.
Absolutely. Eduardo knew he put his opponent under pressure, and can he take the pressure?
And that short push on the backhand from Puri was a little bit loose. Tomoike definitely having the opportunity there to attack that ball, but
It was just shorter than he anticipated.
another match point here for Puri. And comes in with a great backhand loop, but this racket was in a strange position there for the follow-up.
I don't think he was really ready for how much spin was coming back to him.
I think a step around forehand there could have sealed the deal. And I mean, you've got to have absolute confidence to play a shot like that at 11-11 in the fifth.
It's shocking. His hands just went super soft on that ball.
And Tomoike just
Couldn't
couldn't even get it past the bottom of the net. And Puri, this time capitalizing off the half-long serve, is going to take this match 3-2.
Bit of an upset.
Yeah, I mean, from Tomoike just looked to be in the driver's seat there in the first two games. And I think the tactics just shifted, and we almost saw Puri turning Tomoike into a completely different player. He wasn't able to feel comfortable opening on his forehand and following up with his forehand. I think we saw a lot more tight play from Puri. There's a lot more going on close to the net. And, you know, he just was very steady on the attack. And I think at the end of the day, Tomoike went from feeling comfortable on his forehand to really having to pick and choose and take more risks on his forehand.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting in good position, but he was just getting balls that weren't quite good enough. They were falling just a little short, so he stepped around and he had to reach. Before, he was stepping around, the ball was right in his zone. There was a good job from Sahil to change that depth position, spin strength. It's, you know, the variation was really the key there. I mean, especially the one ball that he just kind of touch blocked, and it stopped on the top of the table. I mean, all Eduardo could do is put it in the bottom of the net. Great confidence in what his hands can do.
Brilliant match overall, though. I mean, you get into the fifth game even, you have just changes in lead back and forth, and those timeouts so crucial. A great performance there from both players, but Sahil Puri is going to move on through that round of 16 match. And next up here, we're going to have a women's quarterfinal. It's going to be between Sophie Wu and Jiaqi Lin. Sophie from MIT, a defensive player. Chopper using long pips on the backhand. Jiaqi Lin from Texas Wesleyan, the third seed in the women's singles.
Yeah, yesterday in the doubles, she looked super comfortable playing against Angela Guan. So we'll see what happens with this matchup here. So coming up, MIT, Sophia Wu versus Jiaqi Lin from Texas Wesleyan. Be right back.
Blue, white. Yeah,
Blue.
blue. Receive. Side, this side. Okay. 2-minute warm up.
So as the ladies warm up here in this women's championship singles quarterfinal, you get to see two very unique or different styles here. Jackie is a lot more offensive, and Sophia is a modern defender, a little bit leaning more towards the defensive side. It's got to make Sophie feel good getting that first point on her own serve.
And we've seen in quite a few of Sophie's matches, she's really not afraid to go for the attacks as well. And anytime the ball's popping up a little bit, she's coming in and playing big forehands, sometimes even punching the ball with the long pips on her backhand, which is a really difficult ball to control on the attack. And a big inside out forehand down the line. Jia Lin. She's very steady technically. She can definitely add some zip to the ball.
And that's twice she's gone inside out to that wide backhand.
I think we're going to see
Pretty
quite
good.
a few of those.
Big dive of most of the backhand. It's amazing how smooth that forehand is. She doesn't hesitate at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not overwhelmingly powerful, but it's just very, very steady, very consistent, very technically sound. I think the biggest strength for her is that she can get it to both corners, and she can also get it to move away from the corners as well.
It's interesting the players have been calling a lot of their own lets, even with the umpires on.
It's a Sunday. Some great defensive play there from Sophie Wu. Of course, the MIT team coming third in the women's team competition. Sophie, the second player on that team.
Yeah, it's interesting. Their doubles pairing was a very good attacker in Maria Castillo, and then, of course, here with the Sophie Wu, the chopper.
And again, Lynn just looking for that first ball on the table, then getting straight to business.
Yeah, like you said, it's a steady diet of balls to the backhand side.
And again, yeah, she's really, really focusing on that wide backhand angle.
Well, the tricky part is if Sophie cheats over to that side, that ball's going to go right up the forehand side. That's how much control Jiaqi has on that forehand.
Wu doing a good job that time of slowing Lynn down a little bit. You could see she opted for that spin control. Ball was a little bit heavier.
Yeah, but she did a great job. I don't know, my experience playing against choppers, the more you loop into the chop, the heavier the ball gets and the more difficult it gets to continue attacking. There went Sophie's counterattack, just a little long. Yeah, she's not afraid to pull the forehand around and take a swing.
I think one of the big things that she's going to have to improve in the placement terms a little bit is really staying away from that middle line on the table.
Yeah. It's very comfortable to go there, but it lets either angle come into play.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to ball quality as well. When you're dealing with a higher ball quality, it becomes more difficult to be able to place the ball where you want it to go. So a lot of the time she's kind of focusing on the return against the quality, and the ball continues to go back in that middle third. But if she can get away from that.
So Sophie's has the serve, but is down for game points.
I like that play.
Tried to attack, use the attacking backhand, long pips attack. If those go in, it's really uncomfortable to return them.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this, when you're at that stage of a game and there's a level difference here. I mean, Jiaqi Lin has a lot of experience and a lot of technical capability. And, the number 3 seed in the women's singles, and she'll be vying for that crown. You've got to try some different things.
Right, and I'm sure Jiaqi was in the back practicing with her own chopper attacker. So they have one at Texas Wesleyan, so a lot of these guys are not as uncomfortable with this type of game. When you have someone who does the modern defensive game and you get to practice with them often, you get a certain level of comfort in knowing that these patterns work.
Yeah, and I think it's almost a staple. I mean, if you look at Chinese players, not just in China, but ones that have, come across the different countries, there are very, very few players that struggle against defense. It's kind of a staple diet for them. And again, there's that wide angle coming from the middle of the table for Lin.
Lin is just so quick with the forehand, and you have to be ready to go either direction with it.
It was a better angle to start the point from Wu, but again, once that quality comes into play, we've seen Lin pushing a little bit more in this game than the previous.
You've also seen Sophia twiddle a little bit more than she had in the first game.
And a great wide angle there.
Yeah, Sophia's talking to herself a little bit there. Self-motivation.
I mean, that wide ball, for Sophie, it's tough ground to cover. But even if she does get it back, getting back to the table for the next ball is going to be so challenging. This time she takes the forehand angle. I think, honestly, a better option for her.
Yeah.
She can get that comfortable cross-court ball back into her chopping side.
And that was a really heavy underspin ball coming back. and the dead one. So a little change in spin quality forces 2 mistakes from Lynn. That's a rarity. Rarely will you see a chopper miss a push.
Rarely will you see a player of Lynn's caliber miss a high ball.
It was a little heavier than I think she thought
It was a little
was.
heavy, yeah.
She thought, high ball. Easy. Oh, no. Nice serve. It's the first one she's
Yes.
actually got her to outright miss.
She has some good service variations. I mean, not many female players use the reverse pendulum serve. I've seen her using that quite a lot during this tournament. And good hand control there from Lynn. Drops the ball very short. And again, this is kind of has some mirroring of yesterday evening's match with Jen Deng playing against Angela Guan. You just have that late contact, late in the swing, and you lose that substance on the ball contact.
Yeah, you got to watch. When she twiddles over to the inverted side, that ball comes back super heavy.
So Len, despite dropping a few points there, still leads 9-5.
Pretty comfortable with 4 points, but still making her own mistakes. She was super consistent with those earlier. A little more side spin on the return than what Lynn had thought. So now it's back within 2. She's just content to bump that back. Before she was putting more spin on it. That time she just tried to bump it. And with the inverted, that's tough. So only needed 1 point to convert to go up with the 2-game lead.
It's definitely, I think Sophie did a better job in that game there of extending the points, the length of the points. I think she managed to get Chachi to, you know, just a couple of errors on the forehand against those kind of softer but spinnier balls. It was enough to slow Lynn down, and you know, she was pushing a lot more. And of course, like you said, the twiddling, of course, disrupts that rhythm, disrupts that comfort. And I think that's certainly a good thing for Wu. You know, the first game, Jiaqi Lin was kind of all over it and really confident hitting those inside-out shots down the line and wide to the backhand, but some good good consistency and tactical changes from Sophie Wu. And
yeah, she's got to start finding ways to win her own points. I mean, she does have a powerful forehand. She just hasn't really felt like she's had the opportunity to use it. And, you know, she likes to play the steady game. But with someone who has some power, you've got to challenge them on occasion to kind of keep them honest. So we'll see tactically what Sophie comes up with to stay in this, you know, get this game and stay in the match. No help from the net gods.
a little bit high on that one.
Yeah, she's not quite as biting into that ball as much as she needs to, because that's a very spinny ball.
I think that's the ball that she wants to attack.
Yeah, you're right.
And actually, you know, I mean, Lynn's playing quite steady inside the table. So there are more opportunities to attack than perhaps Wu might be thinking. Like this ball right here, for example. You know,
Yeah, her feet just got crossed there.
yeah, it seems like she's only willing to take those chances at attacking when the ball's converted to topspin. I think there's actually a lot of backspin balls, a lot of little pushes that are quite soft. Like this
that
ball.
one.
Yeah, there are definitely some chances for her to attack more, and she's certainly good enough to do it.
Yeah, see, Angela would have punched that with the pips instead of trying to brush it. It was high enough where she could punch it. Like that. That should have been pounded.
Yeah, you can see it's only when
She's
Lynn
fully set.
loops to the forehand she wants to take that chance to play counter topspin. But she hasn't been able to control it. We've only seen on a handful of occasions throughout this match so far Wu taking those opportunities to counter, but they've always been against topspin.
That'd have been a nice place for a block right there.
Great heavy backspin on that forehand push.
And Wu finally
Forehand
gets
chop.
up for
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah. Push chop, just kind of the same thing. Just one's longer than the other.
Topspin push. So Jiaqi Lin opening up a pretty commanding lead here.
Wow.
She went for it. It was a great counter. Right
yeah,
at
unexpected,
the body.
yeah.
I think that's, you know, she's got to go for those. I mean, I think if she had been a little bit more aggressive on some of those opportunities, it would have been unexpected for Lin.
Spin variation is not going to get it done.
Yeah, I think, you know, Lin's just so steady against this, and the pace and the changes have been quite linear. I think it's really unsettled her enough. And she'll finish a bit of a net clip there, but definitely showing she's the more dominant player in this matchup.
It'll be interesting to see how the next round progresses. Because she's going to have to see at some point if she makes it to the finals or maybe in the semifinals where she'll play Angela Guan. You know, she just had a little bit of that taste of that experience right here. So, you know, when Jiaqi Lin advances and Texas Wesleyan is still on the hunt for another title.
And next up on table one, we're going to have I would say a pretty hotly anticipated match. It's going to be between the 4 and 5 seeds of the men's championship singles. It's the quarterfinal between Jack Wong for Northwestern and Nikhil Kumar from UC Berkeley. They played in the co-ed team event yesterday. Had a brilliant match there. Nikhil Kumar coming away with the win. Jack Wong will want some revenge, that's for sure. These are both members and former members of the U.S. national team. Kumar, a Tokyo Olympian. Jack Wong representing USA at the World Championships in 2016. I believe Nikhil's probably played 4 by now, 4 World Championships. So we've got a pretty early start.
Yeah, much so with Jack also. Because he's actually, I think, 2 years younger than Nikhil, I believe. I'm not exactly sure on that.
I think they're both freshmen. Nikhil's a freshman.
So both?
He's, yeah, I think Jack, I'm not sure. Yeah, they could be, I think, both the same.
All right, so it's interesting to see what the future lies with these two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be up with that match very shortly. And make sure you stay tuned on the live stream.
Yep, this is going to be the next match, the men's championship singles quarterfinal matchup with Jack Wang and Nikhil Kumar. So we'll be live from Round Rock, Texas, the sports capital of Texas.
Bad nicks in the table here. What can I do? Any preferred color? Okay. Right? You did good. Right? Receive. Which side do you prefer? Okay.
So the umpiring crew has got everything going, started quickly here. The presentation of the coin flip, so they know who's serving. And you see Jack Wang from Northwestern out there getting a little stretch in, getting his legs ready to go because he's going to need them. This is going to be a well-played, very technical, powerful match between two really young, flexible power players. He's not going to see a lot of slow pushing or anything really tentative happening. Both these guys are very confident in what they do. So you'll see a lot of power, a lot of speed. So make sure your drink's full. The popcorn has been prepared. It is lunchtime, so
Where?
if you're having a
Sorry, popcorn.
Matt Harrington looking for some popcorn today.
Come on, man.
Yeah, nobody seems to be bringing any around either.
I definitely want some for this match. This is going to be great. And I actually missed this match yesterday. I saw some small parts of it, but not the whole match. So
yeah, I was
looking forward
actually
to the rematch.
commentating on the other table during that team tie. And got to do the other singles match with Northwestern. So we'll see how things go here. It did get to the fifth.
Fourth. I think yesterday.
They played the doubles.
Oh, the team tie. I
And
thought you
the
meant
team
this
tie.
match. Yeah, this match yesterday, Nikhil won 3-1. Got a really good start up 2-0. And I'm pretty sure he was up in the third, but then Jack won it. But then in the fourth, Nikhil won 11-1. So he kind of stomped his authority on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, with college and everything, Jack hasn't played as much as before in the last couple of years. I mean, Nikhil, very active still, obviously, having played the Olympics and still out there playing tournaments. So it's great to have Jack here and back in table tennis a bit more. And he's been playing great.
Yeah, we'll see how things start off because he has the serve.
He's a player that favors the backhand flick, quick backhand flicks and counters. Adds a little bit of power. Nikhil Kumar, really a very unorthodox table tennis player. He's got a lot of variations, chop blocks, soft blocks. And there's a prime example for you right there.
Yeah, setting up that powerful forehand with that inside-out little block right there. Very good touch shot.
Yeah, and I mean, Nikhil, as a younger player, a lot of the comments made were, oh, you know, he really needs to develop that backhand loop side. But I think he's really owned his style. Fantastic play off the corner of the backhand there from Kumar.
Yeah, it's usually what we call an emergency backhand chop,
Yeah.
but it didn't look like he looked very comfortable doing it.
And this time, Wong playing the angles more. Gets the execution on that forehand corner placement.
Yeah, you had said about him liking to play, Jack liking to play that backhand. Like the second point he played, he covered a wide forehand ball with his backhand. And I was like, wow, the footwork. Oof.
Yeah, and he really needs to make sure that that keeps happening. He doesn't want to push the ball and give Nikhil the chance to make a, you know, a lot of those openings are really, really heavy spin. And Nikhil just controlling the ball well. He's one of very few players, especially non-Chinese players, who use a hard, tacky rubber on both sides of his racket.
See, he uses a Hero's blade, the Ma Long blade. I have the same one.
An amazing shot down the line there from Jack Wong. A little bit loose from Kumar.
Yeah, the last time I saw Jack, he did not have this physical structure to him. Got a lot more physical power right now.
Down the line for Kumar. As I was saying earlier, you know, the style, that whole, I guess, debate of people saying, oh, you know, he needs to develop his backhand loop. I think his backhand has just evolved so well for his game. And, you know, I think he's not afraid to shy away from having a slightly unconventional style. And has got so much backhand variation, maybe not that big, powerful backhand loop, but he sets up his forehand so well.
It's like they say, table tennis is about styles, and each person has the ability to put their own personality into their style. So I think that Nikhil has done that very, very much.
I don't know how he got away with that.
Yeah,
He
that
just
was
kind of reached and swatted. That was a great shot from Jack Wong, so sure he will be a little...
It was a little desperation, but it was a well-timed desperation swing.
Big third ball attack there from Nikhil Kumar.
Yeah, but it was pretty straight from Jack. I mean, he didn't try to fool him. He just hoped he would miss it.
And Kumar trying to go long and fast on the serve.
I think, yeah, needs to mount on his side first. Umpire kind of looked like, what happened?
And that steady backhand opening from Kumar really kind of locks his wrist up almost. It's a more elbow oriented.
Yeah, it lets the racket speed be generated from the elbow. And the wrist only comes into play when he wants to change the angle. It's a little tricky. Usually what I see someone like Jack Wang with that big backhand, they get the ball started in the middle and then play wide to the wide forehand with the backhand. But he's been trying to take the backhand straight up the line into the body, and he's just made some timing errors on that. You know, it'll be interesting to see what changes Jack has in store for this next game. I mean, Nikhil seems to be feeling it pretty well. Got in a bad position one time and just said, I'm just going to slap at this, and he slapped it straight in. So sometimes when things go bad, they work out good. So Nikhil starting with serve. Handcuff Jack's backhand opening.
This time, Nikhil opening strong to that forehand corner. I mean, the main difficulty here for Jack is how far across are you willing to go with the backhand flick? You're going against a lefty. Pendulum serve.
Right.
And
yeah, the spin is totally different.
You can see there him taking the forehand flick instead. It's probably something he might have to try more of. And good top spin on that opening from Jack Wong.
Yeah, kind of handcuffed Nikhil a little bit. He tried one of his little chop block things there because he couldn't get around it.
And there, this time using the forehand flick to initiate the point. Gets the ball quickly into the backhand, but doesn't have to give up that backhand cover on the table. And lucky, but relatively easy picking for Nikhil. And again, you can see how exposed Jack is left when he comes across to backhand flick.
Yeah, a little bit too much power there from Nikhil to give him too much of an opening. Well, it's only 2-point difference. It seems like it's a lot more. Nikhil seems like he feels like he's in control of the match. So Jack's got to come up with an answer for the service variations.
Kumar looking pretty confident out there.
Jack looking for answers. Needs to win the 2 on a serve.
Goes for a reverse, but it clips the back edge. Kumar definitely getting a little bit more luck in his favor. But, you know, when you go for the shots, often the I guess fortune favors the brave is the term used. And this time Jack Wong will get one back. I think Nikhil owes him a few more.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pretty lopsided net edge benefit to Nikhil. But like you said, when you're doing strong balls, you know, good spin, those little things happen in your favor.
Wow.
A very good play from Jack, and Nikhil just wound up and cranked it. Now has 6 game points.
And Kumar sending that forehand sailing off the end. And Wong goes for that fade wide to the forehand and misses. Kumar's going to take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Jack's struggling to find his own windows, and Nikhil has been a little fortunate here and there, and at really good times, he's gotten a I wouldn't say total luck ball, but his positioning has put him in lucky position. You know, luck, fortune's the brave. You know, so he's going for the wide angles. He's getting the edge. He goes tight to the net. It falls over. So you know, he's doing what he should be doing, and then getting a little bit of help here and there.
Yeah.
You know, Jack shouldn't be too disappointed in that. You know, he's playing well. It's just he's got to pump it up another gear. You know, make a little bit more tactical change to how he's approaching the service game, especially.
Yeah, I think one of the tough things, obviously, is, you know, when these players are both juniors, kind of equal level, and you go away from the sport for a couple of years, you come up against someone who, you know, you remember from before, obviously, and this time, obviously, struggling a lot more than before. And I'm sure obviously he knows, but he definitely believes he has a chance, that's for sure. But, you know, with Kumar, it's difficult to build any rhythm. You can play a really fast ball and it just gets slowed down so much. It comes back with backspin or dead or short on the table. I mean, this guy, the way that he plays with his hands, I think is just really unmatched across the entire country, maybe the whole of North America. You know, he's so creative and has such good control over really risky shots. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes you see a chop block once in 5 or 6 matches, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
With Kumar, you see it
every
3-4 times in a game. It's crazy.
Yeah, he presents different challenges. You know, it's easy to be the power guy. It's easy to be the spin guy. It's a little more complicated to be doing both. And then even worse is when you throw in that excessive hand skill where he's touching the inside of the ball, the outside of the ball, you know, chop block, side spin, chop block. I mean,
yeah, I mean, just even within
little snake,
that,
you know.
Yeah, even within that chop block window, there's probably like 4 or 5 different variations
off the same ball.
Yeah. So Kumar has certainly done a good job of disrupting the comfort level of Jack Wong here.
Yeah, he's really pensive. He's really thinking too much. Jack has got to find some trust in himself.
And goes for the big shot.
He knew he had it, and it's ripped it out.
And there's that shot again. I mean, it's just unreal, really. And I think, obviously, after yesterday, Nikhil knows he doesn't want to go up 2-0 and then lose the game and potentially have Jack coming back at all. And
yeah, everything that was working yesterday for Jack is not quite working so well today. And Nikhil's on fire. I mean, he's just feeling everything. Backhand, forehand, drop shots, chop blocks.
He's got to be careful he doesn't get too creative.
Yeah, last thing he wants to do is let Jack get a rhythm and get some pace going and do a big run on him.
3 points in a row for Jack Wong.
So now is where the focus has got to crank up on Jack's part. Really intent on the serve. Surprised he hasn't turned that backhand loose on that ball. He's kind of just trying to do a little cut drop.
It was a good placement from Wong, but he's really going for those 100% power shots. Which, I guess at this stage of the match, you just go for broke and see what happens. So, Nikhil Kumar, 7 match points here.
faked him out.
Even Jack Wong had a little smirk on his face after that one.
Twice. Gave him nothing.
That's right, you know, showmanship comes at a price sometimes, and especially when you get towards match points, you don't want to get into that trap of trying to finish on something beautiful. Just got to get the job done.
Nothing
And
pretty about winning on a push, but
win.
still win.
So, two great friends, old teammates, Jack Wong, Nikhil Kumar. Really fantastic to have this
Young Lions.
incoming generation of college table tennis players. And I think that's the magic of this,
The event.
not just this event, but the whole structure of college table tennis is it gives a competitive lifeline to junior players who go to college. They don't just vanish from the sport. And, you know, seeing players like Jack Wong here and Nikhil Kumar, I think, is such a great thing for the sport of table tennis in the US. And, of course, Nikhil Kumar will move on into the semifinals of the men's singles. And up here next on table 1, we're going to have a match which I think Roger has been quite highly anticipating.
That's right.
And that's going to be the women's singles semifinal between the number 1 seed Angela Guan from UC Berkeley against a player you saw one match ago, Jiaqi Lin from Texas Wesleyan, the number 3 seed.
So now we're going to see if her practice match against the MIT player, Sophia Wu, is going to pay off for Jiaqi Lin, because now she gets to see the same type of style, but just a little different level, somewhere a little more challenging for Jiaqi. Because Angela's got a good counterattack off the forehand side. She attacks off the backhand side also with the long pips on occasion. And so we're going to have a real entertainer coming up here. So stay tuned and welcome back for those who were watching earlier and for those who just joined us. Please stay tuned from the college championships here 2022 from Round Rock, the sports capital of Texas.